I love the topic, building the right team, because it's all about the people, right? If you don't have the right people, your concept's not going to take off.
Oh, absolutely there, Colin. I know I've signed up for the Startup Club newsletter, and I get the newsletter, and it's great to receive that information. And today, as Colin said, we're looking at the topic of building the right team. How, as an entrepreneur, you can build the right team, and building a high performance team for your business is absolutely critical for success and will require a lot of your focus. A lot of people think that your focus should be like getting that next deal or something like that. And you know what? It's you'll reach a plateau. But if you grow your team and you get the right people in your team at the right time and so forth, you can multiply who you are and your effectiveness. As well as that, it's not just the team at work, as I mentioned, it's the team at home too. And how do you grow the relationships in both your business and your personal life? Because building that right team is so critical. Yeah, so it's a topic I must admit I'm pretty passionate about, Colin.
Yeah, I think we're in a very different time than we were even 12 months ago. Right now, the demand, the ability to bring together great talent to do a startup is very hard. The opportunities for individuals to get jobs in big corporations has never been better than ever in history. I think at this point, you can pretty much walk into a job and get paid a lot of money. So the challenge for the entrepreneur, the challenge for the startup is how do we appeal? How do we actually appeal to those individuals who want to work for these big companies or don't want to work for these big companies, by the way? But how do we appeal to them without delivering the kind of salary or compensation that they would get from a big company? And I think today we're in a much more challenging environment for startups than we were 12 months ago.
Yeah, it definitely is the case. And I've been pondering this thing quite some time. Like, I must admit, in my own business at Park Logic, we've had basically the same team for close on 15 years. I asked myself, why is that? How have we been able to retain this incredible team and also maintain the energy in there so we don't get stale and things like that, and all those sort of things? And how do you do that? And I thought to myself, I'm going to ask them. So before this topic, I went and had a chat to some of my different team members, and I asked them, "Why do you hang around?" And it's interesting what they said. They said to me anyway. And so one of the things they said was, "You look after us." In other words, they have their needs met. You don't go along skimp on their pay and things like that. If you skimp on their pay, then you know what? The grass will be greener on the other side of the fence. You said you always look after us. We never have to ask for a raise or something like that. We never have to ask for bonuses. Is there going to be a bonus at the end of the year or anything like that? It just happens. You look after us. That's the one thing they said. The number two thing they said is we just like working with everyone, and everyone's really good, and everyone's got their back. And I thought, yeah, okay, that's interesting. And it was those two things. And they said the third thing, though, was we love working in the space you're in and the vision you have for it. Like, it's a directional thing for the team. And they said, you've got a great vision, and I want to get behind that. And it was really interesting looking at those three fundamental things and how it impacted the team members. Yeah, so I just want to jump across maybe to Michelle. I know you manage a team of people, so why do they hang around? Like, why what have you found is the reason that they go along hang around with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I agree with what you and Colin have said. It is actually getting harder. I actually just lost one person on my team, and it was really sad for us. I'm asking that question myself a lot as well. And for us, what we found is we really try to create a culture. And we have younger people than ourselves. We're in our whatever 50s, approaching 60, and we're really trying to create an environment where they feel like they can flourish. So, what does that mean, especially now because of the pandemic and COVID? It's things like giving them the freedom to work from home. Of course, they still have to produce, not putting these restrictions on people that are really like just because you want to control. Also, giving them, empowering them would be the word to say, but in a way that they can perform. So, I would say for the teams that I manage, that's been extremely important. I'm highly hands on. I'm just like, and I even tell them I want them to build a resume. I'm really honest with them, and I want them to really get something out of the job. It's not just about us trying to make money, but it's really important to me that they feel, satisfied in the job. And I worked at very big companies for many years, and I never had that opportunity. It just wasn't, it was very counter to that, the experience that I had working at very large companies. And I know for the people that we're attracting, it's very attractive to them, and they also end up are able to, like I said, achieve like skill sets at a faster rate. So it's not, yeah, I'm going to work on a social media team, whatever I'm making up, for Apple. Like, you're really not going to be able to do that. We try to present to them opportunities and experiences that they wouldn't be able to receive at big companies. And then when we can, we try to give them options in companies. That's really important, and we're very honest with them. If it's a company that's not making money yet, we tell them as soon as the company makes money, they'll get a higher pay, they'll get whatever it is, more benefits. So for us, it's extreme transparency, but also really giving them what we see they're asking for: job satisfaction and growth.
Yeah, Michelle, you raised some really great points there, and I'd like to drill into them a little bit more with you. Just beforehand, you're listening to The Complete Entrepreneur. We're taking a look at what it means to actually build the right team. Now, if you're a person in the audience, you've got some questions or you've got some experiences of you with your own team, we'd love to hear from you. Please stick up your hand. We'll invite you to the stage, and this is where we really love to engage with you and to hear from you about your experiences. It's not just a one-way street, it's a two-way conversation here. So please stick up your hand there, and we'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, just as people do that, Michelle, you talked about empowering your team members. What do you mean by empower them, and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, we have a saying. Actually, I think Colin made this saying for us. Was basically, you delegate responsibilities, not tasks. So if you're just telling somebody, oh, constantly do this social media post for the complete entrepreneur, versus you're responsible for all the social media posts, obviously giving them parameters, telling them what success looks like. That's delegating a responsibility. That gives them the space and the creativity to excel. If you're just dictating to someone constantly task, they really, like, even myself, if somebody's doing that to me, it's, you become paralyzed because you're just trying to do exactly that. You end up becoming very close to it. You don't have the freedom, almost you're constraining people. So we're all about trying to delegate responsibilities and giving people a framework. We don't believe in just letting them go wild on it, of course. There's an old saying, it's actually a military saying: you have to expect and tell them what the expectations are, but then inspect. So that's how we look at it. Delegation is key. And I think delegation goes hand in hand with job satisfaction. The rewards, it really needs to be based on that type of system.
Yeah, I love that saying you said there was expect and then inspect. Expect and then inspect. And Colin's saying at the coin, which is assign responsibilities, not tasks. And I think that a couple of things around that, and this really begins to build the strength of a team, is when you assign responsibilities, people feel they trust them. When you assign tasks, not necessarily. But when responsibility means, okay, it's going to be dealt with because I trust you and what's going on here. Yeah, so it's such an important principle, and I love that saying that Colin coined. But I just want to just jump across to Sanusi. Sanusi, it's great to have you on the stage of the Complete Entrepreneur. Love to hear your thoughts on this topic and looking at building the right team. So Sanusi, welcome to the Complete.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, good evening, guys, from Nigeria. So my time, good day, good afternoon, good morning from whatever wherever you are. I'm really excited to be here, building the right team as an entrepreneur. This is like one of the major topic or challenges that many entrepreneurs are facing recently, building the right team and knowing what to do when you're building the right team. I'm happy to know Michelle talk about giving responsibility and not tax. So people don't feel like you are forcing them and telling them if you are not going to do this, then you are not going to be part of it. But I think giving responsibility to people give them the sense of feeling that, oh, I'm a leader in this particular startup and not just forcing someone, you know. For me, I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn more. So I think that's what I'll say for
Yeah,
now.
so
Thank
Nusi,
you
it's
very much.
wonderful having you on the Complete Entrepreneur, and I know that Nigeria right now is a hotbed of entrepreneurial activity. So I wish you all the best in your business, and I think you have the right attitude of you're here to learn, and I think all of us are here to learn, including Colin, Jeff, Michelle, and myself. We're here to learn from people like yourself, and a different view of the world as well and from a different cultural background is so valuable in this global community we live in. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate your thoughts.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
yeah, I just want to jump across now to Dale. You're listening to The Complete Entrepreneur. It's great to have you on the stage. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. It's great to be here. I'm from Barbados. I'm in the Caribbean. As you, I don't know if you guys might know, we are now really pushing out some tech initiatives in the region because you have some entrepreneurs coming through and so on. But it's very embryonic. The ecosystem is nothing close to what you will see in the US or Europe or even Africa, which is making a lot of strides. What one of the statements I want to make is I think what would be a good conversation that I guess you guys could have another time or another room is for entrepreneurs that are in regions where tech is embryonic and obviously the talent for tech is not going to be as widely available as you may find in other regions. So then how do those type of entrepreneurs that are in such environments go after and find the right persons when the right person may be far and few in between? I think that would benefit a lot of Caribbean entrepreneurs. And I think for other regions as well, because we have certain regions that tech isn't bustling as you would find it in some other regions. And that would be a great conversation to have. I don't know if you have anything to add to it, no, but it would be a great conversation. Some people that would be in here.
Wow, that's a great topic. I'll tell you what. And one of the things that I find anyway is that every region at some stage was embryonic. Every single region. So it's like
Agree.
one of the great things about the world we live in, and one of the interesting things I'd love to get Colin and Jeff's feedback on this is that because of COVID, then regions become less of an imperative because we're now in a global world. I must admit, we run now a completely distributed company. Everyone works from home, and we've done that actually
Mhm.
from the day zero, and it's been incredibly flexible, incredibly profitable as well because of that. And it allows us to tap into talent that could be on the other side of the world and can do that very easily. But
Mhm.
Colin or Jeff, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Dale raises there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Michael, I think that now more than ever, those barriers have been removed, which is both a blessing and potentially a curse. So I think that wherever your startup is located, you have access to talent today that you didn't have access before when you were thinking about having to only tap into a local talent pool. I'm always surprised if you have a LinkedIn account. Oftentimes, you'll get emails from LinkedIn of jobs they think you might be interested in, whether you're looking for a job or not. And I'm always amazed lately of the emails I get from LinkedIn with job opportunities that are fully remote from all over the country and all over the place. So that's changed dramatically. So I think you'll have less trouble with that, Dale, than you would have had a few years ago. But the other point, Michael, I wanted to mention as we dive into it, something that I've been learned and learning again and again with every new company is, you know, building a great team. Before you can do that, you need to really have a clear understanding of the team that you need. What are the roles? One of the big challenges for a startup in the early days is figuring out what are the roles they actually need to fill. And I've made mistakes many times trying to do that, thinking we needed, maybe you have a business and you think you need an in-house sales team when in fact you really don't. You could accomplish those goals another way. And so early on in the startup process, you need to get together with the founders and the team and really lay out exactly what roles need to be filled, understand the type of person you're looking for to fill those roles. And it's really important to do that before you dive in and start hiring, because it's very easy to hire the wrong people early on in the process. I've made that mistake numerous times.
Yeah, I think as a part of that process, Jeff, it's also really good to write out the job description, not find someone and go, oh, they'll do, but actually write it out and say, what is the sort of person we need? What do they look like? Okay, we need a CTO, or we need a head of business development, or whatever it is, and put that as a part of your business plan, and really take the time to do that, and don't just be opportunistic, but actually plan it out. It really costs an entrepreneur nothing but a little bit of their time to plan, but it can cost them huge amounts of heartache to unwind a bad decision, particularly when it
Agree.
comes to building your team.
I love
100%
what
agree.
Jeff said too. I'm just chiming in here. He's so right. Like, you really need to define what you're looking for. We might love people, and we know people want to get promotions into different levels or different areas. But if the company doesn't need it, it's irresponsible for us to put people into those positions, because it ends actually hurting others as well as the company. So I think what you said is really smart, Jeff. And it also makes me think of another popular saying, which is, what is it? You hire slow and you fire fast. Like, it's really, you just have to remember, if you don't have the right people at the team, it's so damaging to your other folks, especially your high performers. It really hurts. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great saying, Michelle, that you just raised there. Hire slow, fire fast. We put a guy on numbers of years ago now, and it took us a long time to work out, is he going to fit within the existing team? Are they going to fit, or is he going to disrupt the existing team? And to get that right cultural fit means you're going to be doing a lot of talking with them, and to be able to make sure that they've got the same sort of philosophies and so forth like that of life, and whether they're going to fit in versus disrupt. And all very important things, that's for sure. But yeah, Dale, let me tell you, in Barbados, as I said to a lot of my friends when I first got involved in the internet back in the 90s, I said, for the first time in Australia's history, so I'm in Melbourne, Australia, I'm 100 milliseconds away from anywhere. 100 milliseconds. That's all it is. Yeah. So it's one of the other things I would encourage you as a business in Barbados is to think about what is the competitive advantage that gives you in the
Hmm.
global marketplace, and then have a global focus. And there are competitive advantages for a lot of these up and coming tech countries and so forth like that. There's a lot of competitive advantages, but you need to have a global outlook. In my own
Right.
business, 99% of the revenue comes from international. 1% comes from Australia.
I
And that's,
100% agree, Michael.
yeah. So
Because
it's,
my focus. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, go for it, Dale.
I was saying my focus right now is mainly Caribbean wise, but we just signed a partnership agreement with Doxy.me, which is one of the biggest telemedicine companies globally. And we're looking to distribute telemedicine as well to clinics here in the region and beyond the region, because with the agreement, we are not restricted to the Caribbean. And sorry, I didn't mention that first, but our main solution is the electronic health record. So we are focusing with the electronic record, we are more focused in Caribbean ways, but with the telemedicine, we're looking at a global approach.
Oh, that's great. That's really good to hear. And taking that global sort of focus, I think is one of the most exciting things in this day and age for an entrepreneur. It's the challenge quite often is be global on a hyper local scale. It's a lot of the challenge, but
We
wish
love
you all
it.
the
We love
best,
it.
Dale. And it's so good to have you on the stage. But
Thank
I
you,
just want to
Michael.
jump across. Not a problem, Dale. I'd like to jump across to Boss Meek. Boss Meek, it's wonderful to have you on the Complete Entrepreneur. We're taking a look at the topic of building the right team. So, what have you got to say on this topic, Boss Meek? Hello, you there? It looks like you may have a problem with your microphone. We're going to jump across to Yvonne. Maybe we can come back to you if you can flash your microphone a few times, Boss Meek. That'd be great. So let's just jump down to Yvonne, and then we'll come back to you, Boss Meek. And Yvonne, we're talking about
Boss
building the
Speak,
right
sir.
team on the Complete Entrepreneur. Yvonne, what have you got to share about this on this topic?
Yeah, good evening from London, or good morning, depending on where you're listening from. So, my background is in teaching, and I've been teaching business and economics, very theoretical in the classroom for the past 10 years, and noticed that there were some gaps that we had potential to come out and create a digitalized edtech product. And for the last part of last year, it was all about learning what a startup is all about and all the things, learning all the things like pitch decks and all that. And we then, built the prototype. This is my co-founder and I, with me doing majority of it because my job is a lot more flexible than my co-founders. Anyway, this year it's been a big drive now on we need to get users testing out the product to see what the feedback is before we build the product. And what I've found out is we need to have some goals bearing in mind the kind of departments needed to run the business. So we've set out goals, say, for the product itself and what that would look like 3 months, 12 months down the line, and then gone much deeper for the first 3 months and sales and marketing and all things like that. And by doing that, it's helped to define the person that we need and what we need the person for and how much we need to spend on this person, because all this is being done by bootstrap. I don't know whether that makes any sense or whether we're just taking the long-winded approach, but just listening to all the lovely things that are being said, it would just be interesting to get some input from all these people who is so experienced in running businesses.
Yvonne, I
Thank
think
you.
what you said was really great because I think one of the great powers in terms of planning is to work backwards. So if you set your goals and have a strategy, if you know what your goal is, if where you want to be at the end of the year or the end of 2 years or the end of 3 years, then you can work backwards from that goal and try to determine, okay, if we're going to achieve that, how many people do we need? What roles do we need those people in? What kind of people do we have to hire? And if you dig even deeper and understand what the individual goals are going to be for those roles, that's even better because one of the other mistakes that I've made with companies and something we've talked about very recently with one of the companies I'm involved with is if you hire someone and you don't know what you expect them to achieve at the time that you hire them, how can they be guided? How do you know you're hiring the right person? Because you don't know if it's a person who can achieve that goal. And B, what are they going to do if they don't come on board and know what's expected of them from day one? So to your point of planning that strategy in advance, even though it might take a little bit longer, if you actually know what the company's goal is and what a particular role's contribution to that company goal is before you hire the person, you're way ahead of the game because when you hire them, then you can tell them, we're hiring you and these are our expectations. This is what we expect you to accomplish. And this is where that accomplishment sits within the company's goals and objectives. And then you have someone who's going to come out of the gate running because they know exactly what's expected of them. So I think you're on point.
Yeah, I think you raised some really important issues there, Jeff and Yvonne. Thank you for your input. Now, one of the things that I found with hiring, particularly at a very early startup stage, which you're at there, Yvonne, is when you go to hire people. Yes, we should have a job description and make sure they fulfill those what you need. But show your vision of where where you can see the company going and how they could be a part of that vision, because they're trying to work out whether they want to join you or they want to go somewhere else. Yeah, and yeah, so share your vision as I think it was Steve Jobs said to John Scully, although it didn't work out too good for him with this. He said, "Do you want to keep on making flavored water because John Scully was at Pepsi, or do you want to go and change the world with me at Apple? Your choice." Yeah, and in the end, John Scully came across. And it's a very, you can use that as a very similar technique. When you're talking to someone that you think would be ideal for the position, they tick all the boxes, they'd really fit in and everything like that. But they're saying, do I want to join this thing? It's going to be risky. And I can get a bigger pay packet over there, and that sort of thing. And it hits the vision. What do they want to be a part of? Like when you become 70 years old and you go and you decide to retire or something like that, are you going to be really happy you took that secure corporate job? You may. Or, you know what? That's what like the merry-go-round. Or you could say, I love the roller coaster better. Yeah, entrepreneurship and joining a startup, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And it's incredibly exciting, amazingly exhilarating. And sometimes to get the right person on board, you just got to go along and share your heart and put your heart in the sleeve to get them. But Yvonne, I hope that really helps you out there. Colin, you've started like a large number of businesses. To get those initial key people in place, like how did you do it? Did you put a great big wad of money on the table in front of them and said, hey, take a look at this guy? What was it that you did that got those right people in place that could help accelerate the growth of your company?
One of the things I say for startups is that you need to pay your employees with love, ownership, and freedom. And let me explain what I mean by that. Because let's be clear, you do not have the budget that P&G has, or that GM or any of these large Fortune 1000 companies have. So what do you got? Like, why am I going to work for you when I can work for one of these big companies and make $100,000 a year? I'll tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get total appreciation for what you do. We're going to recognize all your achievements and everything that you do. And I think that's extremely important. The recognition component is something that is lacking in large corporations. And I do believe, and I know this doesn't cost any money for a startup, but I do believe that's very important to recognize greatness, to recognize achievement, to recognize the efforts that individuals are making. That's very important. Freedom. I think this is something that big corporate America is probably adapting to now, but I've been talking about it for over 10 years now, is that we need to give our employees freedom, flexibility. You want to bring your dog to work, you want to bring your kid to work, you want to work at home, I don't care. It's all about delivering results. And then lastly is ownership. I do believe, and I've had hundreds of employees who've benefited from ownership in my companies as we build them up and sell them off. But I do believe that's important, that you share the wealth with everyone around you and as you grow. And I think that you don't necessarily have to do stock options, which is, I think, is a great idea if you're on a high growth company trajectory, but you could do profit sharing. You can do other things that will encourage them to think like they're an owner. They get a piece of this. So pay your people with love, ownership, and freedom.
Well, you synthesize it down so well, Colin. And I'd like to add another one to that mix: diversity. And what I mean by this is where else can a person jump into a job to find that the legal person, sales, marketing, PR, and logistics? And the incredible amount of experience you can get in a startup and accelerated experience is phenomenal for individuals. And To build then write down on your CV the huge raft of experience you have. And why? Because you've been thrust into something. And that sometimes is a really great thing for people. Some people it's not so good for, but a lot of people, they just thrive in that, particularly early startups, and you get the right person in, and they just love the diversity of just the myriad of tasks ahead of them and the challenges. Like there's a Mount Everest right there, and I want to climb Mount Everest, but in order to do that, I've got to go along and do this incredible marketing campaign and then deliver results to the customer. Yeah, it's exhilarating for the team, and to celebrate that, and as you said, Colin, reward them both intrinsically and extrinsically is just it's fantastic, and it shows appreciation. You're not rewarding people, I think, because you can get more out of them. You're rewarding and putting people because, and it's a different sort of mentality. But anyway, you're listening to The Complete Entrepreneur. We're talking about building the right team. And Boss Meek, you had some problems with your microphone. Hopefully your microphone's all sorted out now. Welcome to the
Yeah.
stage. It's great to have you here.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. All right. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening from anywhere in the world. I'm speaking from Nigeria. I'm Boss Mink, as you said. I'm really grateful to be on this platform with great men and women, and I've been jotting a few points of for my own speech also, and then it's really insightful to be here. So what I would say about this topic is that there are so many tech jobs out there these days that it makes it really hard to find a talent. It makes it really hard to build a team together just because these talents are they are not these people they are not ready to stay committed because one they have opportunity to work at a larger company where they can earn a lot of money, $10,000, $20,000, and also they have the leverage, online leverage, whereby they can work remotely. So it's very difficult to see someone that is very good and we want to actually stay with you, especially when your pay is still very low or you still trying to build up. So actually in Nigeria here, I'm trying to build a startup and then we've made six figures already. We're still planning to scale it higher. And then few processes I use. The first one is understanding the business goals. Exactly what are we trying to pursue? Exactly what are we trying to achieve? Exactly what are we trying to put out there, and what is it that we want to solve? This is the part of the first part I believe we should look into when we look into to hire someone to form a great team. And then the second thing is to achieve these goals, who are the people I need to bring in? What roles? Are you working on a SaaS platform or a SaaS software? Then that you need to have a CTO, someone that can work on on developing your software, and then you need to work on your marketing department. So you need to look into these roles that okay, what are the roles I need to bring in to achieve my goals, to achieve my vision. And then the next thing is most people when they are looking for to form a team, they actually look for person with the highest experience. They look for the person with the highest skill. Meanwhile, it's very difficult to keep someone at the highest level at his peak and then have him stay committed with you, especially when your pay is still low or you still trying to set up. So what I did, and it has brought us a quite fortune, is that I didn't hire for skill. At least if the skill set is 100%, the scale is 100%. At least I'll make sure that okay, the person I want to bring in has 60% of this skill, and then he will be able to develop and learn on the job. So this is what I don't hire for skill. We hired for attitude, the work ethic, and the character, because I know that with this they will be able to actually develop themselves. And then again, I communicated, like I defined and communicated the company's vision to the team. I explained it to them. I sold the company's vision to them in such a way that they'll be able to feel themselves and see themselves as part of the team. They'll be able to carry the team like it's as if it's their home. And one other thing I did was to give them room to express, just like Michael has said and Mitchell has said, giving them room to express themselves, giving them room to feel part of the team, giving them room to grow, to develop themselves. It feels more like a family while they are trying to be efficient and effective. At least giving them the room to grow is one of the things that makes that brings out the best out of them by delegating, telling them that, okay, these are the things we need to do. You don't give them tasks, as Mitchell said. You delegate to them that this is what you need to do so that we
Wow,
can
wow,
actually
wow.
meet this.
Boss Meek,
Yeah, yeah.
you are a wealth of knowledge there. You really are. And just phenomenal, some of the things you were expressing. It really was amazing. Understand your business goals. Who are the people I need to bring in to meet these goals? Hire for attitude. I think that's a really important one for a startup that you just highlighted was hire for attitude. I'm back in the, was it 95, 96? There weren't web developers everywhere. They didn't exist. And I had to go along and hire people who had the right attitude to learn. And that's one of the things you really highlighted there. And I just want to jump back, maybe across to Michelle. And thank you for your comments on that, Boss Meek, and wish you all the best in your business activities. I'm sure you're going to go from strength to strength. I look forward to seeing you back on the Complete Entrepreneur and you say, hey, we made seven figures. It's not
Yeah,
six, it's
thanks.
seven figures.
Yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So,
We're looking into
so
that.
yeah, Michelle, I just want to come across to you. Hiring for attitude. Is this something that you put a premium on when you go to hire people into your team? Is you look at their attitude more than their skill set? What is that balance there?
This is all right. I'm just going to say this. I have a little bit of an aversion to the word attitude because all I can think of is my mother saying you have a bad attitude. So for me, it's a negative thing.
Well,
So,
I mean the good side of the attitude.
right. Yeah, I think it's like, gosh, this is a very good question. So for me, yeah, of course, I want somebody, I would say it a little bit differently. I think it's very important to not predefine what you think attitude is. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Some people are very analytical, so they're going to be very to the point. I think that's a very kind of dangerous territory. But I think, yeah, just like Jeff said, like just define what kind of person you're looking for. And then as we talked about meaning skill set, and I think there is room there like the gentleman just said. And then I think in terms of attitude, the way I think of it is if it's a salesperson, are they sociable? Do they have good follow-up skills? I try to think of it more, do they have the hard skills and the soft skills? That's how I look at it because I think it's very different depending on the role. Like some programmers are very pragmatic. That might rub people, salesperson, the wrong way. So I think we have to step back and make sure we're not judging people and look at what are the soft skills and what are the hard skills needed for that job.
Yeah, that's a great point there. Soft skills and hard skills. What are those skills which you just need in past companies? Yeah, I as long as a developer could do their job, I didn't worry so much about the soft side. I was interested in output. But on the other hand, would I put that person in a room with a client? Probably not. And that's why you get the soft skills. It's a blending of the skills to identify the balance of soft and hard for each position and everything that you need along the way. But I just want to jump down to maybe Shambo, as we're talking about the topic just here of building the right team. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, or if you've got any questions or anything like that. Welcome to the stage,
Yeah,
Shambo.
absolutely. Thanks for inviting me up. This is a great conversation as I am in the middle of building a great team, and everything that everyone said is spot on. So I won't repeat it. What I will also add is what I get down to is understanding what their needs and wants are. For me, that helps with retention. I consider what we do. I employ a lot of mini entrepreneurs, and I don't mind. I don't mind build your own business, but I just let me know how I can help you while you're helping.
I think you may have bumped the microphone. You got cut off halfway there, Shambo.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Is that better?
all is good now. All is good.
Perfect. Yeah, I what I was saying was I consider myself building a team of mini entrepreneurs. I get to know what it is that they want, what it is that they desire over the next couple of years. Are they trying to build their own business? I don't mind that they have their own things going on. I make sure that they feel like I'm vested in what they're doing, and if I can help in any way, if I can be of a resource, they'll want to work that much harder for the company. So I, on top of the character and making sure that they somewhat align with the mission and they know what the impact that we're trying to put forth in the world, it's definitely about me making sure that they understand that I care about what it is that they're trying to do and where they're trying to go and where they're trying to grow as well. I'm complete.
Yeah, so that's important, isn't it? Like aligning with them and knowing that you believe in them, knowing you believe in them, and trying to match those goals of the personal goals of the team members as well as the company, everything. And really, it's the job of a leader, isn't it? And was it the definition of a leader is a person who has followers, and the job of the leader is to say, this is the direction we're headed. And I know we're going to be all over the place a little bit on that journey, but as individuals as well as corporately, but we're trying to get that. That's the direction. That's where we're trying to get to in that process. So thank you, Shambo, for sharing that. I just want to jump across to Gigi. Gigi, it's great to have you on the stage. Welcome to the Complete Entrepreneur.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the opportunity. And first of all, thank you, everybody, because your insight and information was very useful. I worked in the corporate world for many years, so I've been blessed to understand what good teams look like. And I find that what you guys are saying reflect that they have passion, they have the right attitude, if you will, towards what they're doing. They have sense of ownership, and they have some freedom to express dissent if that's what needs to be expressed. And I've been lucky to be with several great companies like that. Now, as I'm doing my entrepreneurial journey and I'm bootstrapping, and right now I'm just working by myself and have maybe a few contractors for a few things that I'm not good at. I realize that as this thing grows, hopefully it grows, hiring is now I reflect the same concerns that all the other entrepreneurs are reflecting here as to how to be competitive. And I live in Silicon Valley, so it's very competitive, even among startups, to attract the right talent. So your point of view has been very useful. Two questions I had, and I think Shambo touched on one of them, was number one, if you already have a group of employees, I didn't hear people say much about this, but if somebody is leaving, do you get a lot of insight as to why they're leaving? Because that might help. Or even if you're trying to hire somebody and they say no, my point would be that I would try to understand why they said no, to really understand where the gaps are. The other point was, even as we are assessing the future employees, startups tend to be a little bit dictatorships and have a sort of a echo chamber of their own because they're small. What I struggle with is, how do I understand exactly my own weaknesses? What do I need to improve to attract the right sort of people? And am I spot on with who are the right people? And I know this is all a thesis and you got to experiment and learn as you go. But I would like to emphasize those 2 points. Thank you.
I briefly
Yeah,
heard it was sorry, it was going in and out, but I can just add one quick note in and out. Sending it back over to you, Michael. I would say think about what you want your company culture to look like. How do you envision people engaging with each other? How do you envision the interdepartmental communications going? Think about the company culture as well as all of the other things around goals and the needs of the company. But for me, it was very important to establish how I want the company to start and grow and the teams to interact with each other, regardless if someone is more of an introvert versus extrovert, but building a culture where everyone feels comfortable being who they are and showing up how they are and not feeling like they need to change or shift their attitude or energies to accommodate for someone else's over or under. That so for me that was important. I hope that helps.
What great advice there, Shambo. I really do appreciate it. And Gigi, you asked some really interesting questions, and they're actually really big questions. One of them I think you asked was asking people why they leave. I think that's mandatory for an entrepreneur, is that when a person leaves the organization, you need to sit down and have an exit interview to find out what's the reasons why. And quite often, what you discover is that they've got nothing to lose. And you ask it in a very polite and respectful way, obviously. They have nothing to lose. Therefore, you may actually get some home truths. And you go, gee, I didn't realize that. That's, I think, a really important time. And also in that time for the exit interview, one of the things I try to do is keep the door open, because you may end up having them back in the team in a couple of years' time or whatever. And it's never good just to slam the door into someone's face unless they've done something completely wrong. I'm talking about someone who's leaving on their own volition. That's a really good one. And you asked also why they said no to join the team. So you're approaching someone, you think it's going to work out to get them on board, and then finally they come back and say no. I think it's also a good idea that if they're willing to share it, is to find out why they're saying no and to ask the question, and take them out for a coffee or something like that. And sort of say, look, really hoping to have you on board, and we can really see you fitting. So what if that made you nervous? Because it'll help you in your next interviews and so forth when you go and approach someone else. And I think that the last thing you raised was understanding your own weaknesses. That has got to be the biggest weakness of most entrepreneurs. And the fact that you're asking that question puts you a cut above many out there. But understanding your own weaknesses, I think, Colin, you're a strong proponent of getting a business coach. I know you've had a business coach for a long time, and it helps you along your journey and understand your weaknesses. Is that correct, Colin?
Yeah, there's actually, if you want to Google it, something called the Johari window. So every one of us have weaknesses, but we don't recognize them. And very carefully, and very carefully, if we can get people around us to help us recognize those weaknesses, then you can actually figure out where you can improve as an individual. It's called the Johari window. It's fascinating, my friend. It's a very cool concept.
Yeah,
So, have you heard of that
that
one before? I'm just curious, Michael.
I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of the Kobayashi Maru, but I haven't heard of that.
Isn't the
Johari window.
Kobayashi Maru the one from Star
Yeah,
Trek?
That's correct.
The one that Captain Kirk?
of
Okay, that's
course.
He
totally.
beat.
No, what we're
Talking to
talking about
sci-fi
is think of
guys.
it in quadrants. Think of it in quadrants. Like, this is who you are, this is who you believe you are, and this is who you are, but you don't know who you are. That is where a coach, that's where Johari window comes in, and they help expose, or not expose, but introduce you to the concept that you have these weaknesses, or you have these issues, or you have this opportunity, or you have these skills, by the way. And that's what the Johari window is all about. So I totally agree with coaching. I totally think that every one of us need to do that on our own, and our team members. If we can help our team members become more productive, more successful, and identify very carefully, though, we have to be careful with this concept, though. It's a very tricky concept. But if we can help them identify their strengths and focus on that, then I believe you'll have a much more successful team and be much more productive and have a more successful startup.
Hey, I want to add on here something that I've used with teams is a book, and they have a little whatever air quotes test. It's called Strength Finders. And I found that to be like an amazing book. I've done it with teams. Basically, you take a little quiz test, it's like a little profiler, and you learn what your strengths are. But what was very interesting about it is for every strength, there's a contra, right? The con. So, are a team builder, but maybe there's a downside to that. It really, I liked it because it emphasized the positive, but it told you what the, dare I say, downside of that strength is. Because you don't want to suppress somebody's strength by focusing on what the downside of their strength is, if that makes sense. But I found that extremely valuable book, and we did it as a team, and then we all talked about it. Yes, I am a person that has to have a vision that I believe in. The downside of that is I'm a very skeptical person until you tell me, and I believe that there's a cause here. It helps you understand and communicate with people, and it helps you not think, oh my God, Michael is a person who's so negative. No, the problem with Michael is that he hasn't heard the vision, and he is not fully like believing it, and he wants to believe. Michael really wants to believe.
I really do, Michelle. I really do want to believe.
Yeah. So that's an awesome book, and it's really good for teams to do together. Thank
Like,
you.
and Michelle, you reminded me of probably one of the most important things you can do to build a great team is profiling. Now, I don't mean Criminal Minds, the TV episode, the disc profile, the Briar's the there are multiple different methods you can profile people on your team, and I think it's extremely important because when you understand the personality profile, you can actually help them out. You can actually provide assistance, or you can have somebody else provide assistance to their weaknesses in their profile with respect to their particular discipline. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's say, for instance, sales is probably the most popular, obviously one of the most popular jobs in a startup. And if you have a salesperson who is very social but not good at closing, you're going to want to have somebody complement that salesperson who can close. Or maybe you as the entrepreneur can do that. But the key is you're not going to understand the situation unless you profile your people. I really encourage anyone who's creating a great team to do profiling. I use the DISC method, DISC. I think it's the best method. And if people honestly come forward, they fill out the forms, and they do the survey correctly, you're really going to understand your team better as a leader, and you are going to it's going to make a huge difference in your business.
Yeah. What I like,
There's so
I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
go for it, Michelle.
Yeah. For me, what I realized when I did Strength Finders is that oftentimes it's horrible as humans, we want to gravitate towards the negative. But when you realize that this person can have this incredible strength they have without having this contra slash whatever negative, I don't even want to call it that, but just to explain it, like it was very like enlightening to me. Oh my God, okay, this person is a builder profile, therefore they want to get projects done, and that might appear to some people like they're not nurturing, for example. Like it really opened up my eyes to like cherish people's strengths. And you know, I don't know. For me, that was like extremely positive for me. And like I said, actually, the example of Michael was not Michael Gilmore here, but another Michael who was like, he was a person that needed a cause. And we were like, oh my God, Michael's so negative. We all felt that way. And then we were like, oh, it's because he just doesn't feel he has a cause. If he has a cause he can get behind, my God, you can't stop him. I just found it extremely valuable. Thank you.
I
Look,
wanted to,
I think this is a topic that I think warrants a lot more time. Sadly, we're coming right to the end. Gigi, I'd love.
for all these awesome tips that I'm going to follow up on that. And the second tip is I came across this list that was compiled by, I believe, some VCs who anonymously asked a whole bunch of startups as to why they thought they failed. And that list has been so useful to just see what the common causes are. I wonder if such a list can be built for why great talent or what you perceive as good talent would not join your startup. If we could build that
Oh my
anonymously,
gosh.
it would help us all.
That's such a great idea, Gigi.
So I don't mind if people want to send it to me on LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile's on there. I don't mind compiling it, and we can keep the startup name anonymous. There's no need to out that. Thank you.
What a fantastic idea, Gigi. It really is. But we're just coming to a close right now. But before we do, we have Dr. Bev Dr. Bev, you've been so patient there, and we've gone over time because it's been such a great topic and everything like that, and a lot of people get involved. I'd love to hear from you, Dr. Bev, on this particular topic we're talking about, and that is building the right team. Welcome to the stage, Dr. Bev.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. Hi, Colin. Thanks for the invite. And Michelle, so good to see you again. I always love this room, and it's serendipity that I even just popped on here real quickly before making myself a cup of tea. And I hope what I say can be helpful for everyone in the room. I am an entrepreneur and I know myself very well. So, Michelle, the strengths finder, fantastic. So, my strengths are achiever, arranger, individualization, learner, input. Colin, was it a disc? So, the disc personality, I'm in 98%. This was back like in 2008. I couldn't get any higher in influencer and a little bit D, not S or C, very low for me. That's the team member I need to have. So as a CEO of my company, it's a new startup. So really, I've only been really working hard to find that team. And for me, it's a partner. And I love this app and I've been learning so much. I just know I need a co-founder. And so there's one thing about a team, building a team. And I've been told, no, you're so capable. You just need a team. No, I need a founder. And it goes to this. So you were talking about the quadrants and about knowing, not really profiling, but knowing who it is you need based on your weaknesses. Because once again, I know who I am. So I kind of know who I need, but you have to have the patience as an entrepreneur to wait because you get so excited. Trust me, I'm so excited about my startup, but it is for a social impact company, right? It's for longevity. It's to change the world. So the quadrants. So here's something that I'm going to throw in and end with is I have a chart that I made for myself in looking for my partner. So it's a quadrant. The first one says, the top left, what I love to do: connecting with others, leading, teaching, innovating, encouraging, taking risks, inspiring, creating, pivoting, problem solving. Okay, that's CEO. That is me. Then I have the next one at the top, what I'm good at doing. Just as natural for me. Building trust, communicating, listening, reaching out to others, arranging negotiations, influencing, delegating, learning, content creation, individualizing. Those are the top two that I'm just good at. Then on the lower half to the left, what I can do, but I hate doing, and it's a time suck, and this is what's holding me back, why I run to try to get funding to get my business going. Marketing, website design, graphic design, sales copy, editing videos, writing blogs, I can do all of that, but it's a time suck and I hate it. And then lastly, in that last corner, number 4 to the right, what I'm not good at doing. This is my partner. If there are any ENTJs in the audience today or listening lounge, this is what I'm not good at, and I'm waiting for my partner. I'm not very good at budgeting, forecasting financials, which you need as a startup, accounting, business law, day-to-day operations, organizing schedules, HR, answering the phones, communicating the business plan. So there you go. That's what you need to do. So as an entrepreneur, to find the right partner or team or co-founders or whatever, you got to know yourself. And I just love that I'm in this room because Michelle and Colin and Michael, whoa, you are helping everyone here just so clearly to figure out what's going to be a winning team. And I'm just writing notes. Yep, I'm writing all the notes to circle back on everything you said is just so spot on. So thank you so much for letting me share. I thought this was really a neat room.
There couldn't have been,
Doc,
sorry, Michael, there couldn't have been a better description of who you are and your profile and what you need. You're a DI who needs an SC, and that's I'm going back to DISC. But truly, you're a dominant, influential personality who needs an administrator to help you succeed in life. And
And
everyone in
analytic,
this
I
room,
think she's saying.
every single person in this room, we are not every personality type. We cannot do everything on our own. And I know we think as entrepreneurs and startups, we can do everything. We cannot. What Dr. Bev is saying here is brilliant. This is who I am. This is what I need. And If you acknowledge that and you understand that single concept, you can launch a great startup. And I truly believe that. But you have to understand, all of us, we cannot do everything on our own. Every startup needs a team.
I agree with you, Colin. It was amazing advice, Dr. Bev. Really do appreciate that. You're really after the Wozniak to work with the Jobs. That's really what you're looking at. And that person who is the how we can do this to go with the why we're doing this. You can put it in capture many different ways. I want to bring this room to a close right now. We've got a little bit over time, but even in my own business, I came out of a successful sort of exit of a previous one, and I found a new business, of course, because I'm a serial entrepreneur. And one of the things I did though was I said, here's my skill set. I did a personal of what my skill set were and what really lights my fire and all that sort of stuff. I then said, who is a person that I know and that I respect who is basically the opposite of me? And I went and searched them. I found there's one guy that I've known for a long time, an incredible amount of respect for, highly ethical, but he is basically the mirror image of me. And I said, I want to learn from them, because the journey of life is not just about getting a bigger wad of cash. The journey of life is to understand you. And what better way of understanding you is to actually be in partnership with a person who's basically your mirror image. And that partnership started 15 years ago, and it's still going to this day. And has there been some difficult times along that journey? Because when you have opposites, you end up rubbing each other up the wrong way at times. Yes, but have we got a deep respect for one another? Absolutely. And it's been one of the most amazing journeys, I think, of my life. And that's what it means to be an entrepreneur. And it really is incredible. Can I just say, this room, I'm not sure about you, Colin, Jeff, and Michelle, but I found this room today has been, and this topic has really resonated as one I've really enjoyed hearing from the people in here. And I was thinking we need to expand this further and take a look what does it mean to build a team. And possibly, I was thinking we should probably bump next week's topic and run a second version of this room. What do you think, Colin or Michelle or Jeff?
I completely agree. It's been very invigorating, and I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say. This is an amazing conversation. Thank you for bringing it, Michael.
Yeah, I look. Thank you for that, Michelle. I think what we'll do next week on the Complete Entrepreneur, we were going to be doing the topic of I quit, but I wanted to. I think we need to unpack this whole concept of team, of building that high performing team, a lot more. And we just tapped into at the very end there, which is some of the psychological profiling tools and things like that. Or maybe we should take a look at Ray Dalio, what he actually does in his business, Bridgewater Capital, yeah, the largest hedge fund in the world. What does he do? And begin to open up that and how it can impact our businesses. And this is a critical conversation. If you're in this room right now and you found it was really worthwhile discussion hearing, let me tell you, 5 p.m. Eastern time next week, we're going to expand on this further because I think it's something that's really worthwhile doing. And so come armed with some great questions and with some great thoughts and experiences. Join us on the stage because I think this is something which is critical for entrepreneurial success. So if you're in the audience right now, mark it in your diary, go to your Outlook, go to your smart device, whatever, and say 5 p.m. Eastern time, I've got to be there because this can transform what I do in business. And if you've been on stage this week and you've got some more things as this topic really has begun to provoke your own thoughts and your own thinking, then put your hand up next week because we'd love to have you on stage again. And Gigi and Bev and Yvonne and Dale and Boss Meek and so forth, and come up on stage and let's expand this right out because I think it's something that's going to be that has really resonated with the entrepreneurial community. But in the meantime, Colin, what's going on there with
Like,
startup.club?
I just want to say, what a great example of the community coming together tonight and talking about a really cool issue to help startups. I was very excited about that. And the people on stage now, I followed every one of you. I tell you, amazing. Tomorrow, listen to this. We had Jeffrey Moore a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, one of the big legends in business, one of the top authors ever. And by the way, you can get his recording on startup.club, www.startup.club. But tomorrow, live, we have best-selling author from the London University. I keep getting that one wrong. The London School of Business, John Mullins. Vern Harnish, Scaling Up. Vern Harnish wrote Scaling Up. He wrote The Customer Funded Business. Okay, you're doing a startup. Don't get venture capital. Don't get angel funding. Use your customers to raise money. That's the gig tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern on Friday, tomorrow on the Serial Entrepreneur Club. And if you miss it, we do a podcast. That is actually one of the shows that went to a podcast. You can now listen to it on Apple, on Spotify. It just type in the Serial Entrepreneur Club and you can pull it up. And we have about 50 episodes that we've run. What an incredible event tomorrow afternoon. I'm so excited about it. The customer funded business, John Mullins.
Wow, it sounds like a great event tomorrow, that's for sure. You're going to force me to get up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, I think, Colin, so I can come and join. But
Yes,
look forward to it.
you have to get up early, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been great having you all here. I just want to say a really big thanks to Colin, Jeff, and Michelle, my fellow moderators. It's been fabulous. For you on the stage, yes, I followed you as well, each one of you. And by the way, if you're in the audience saying, you know what, this has been great, make sure you follow the people on the stage. You click on their profile, click on follow, and say, hey, they got some really interesting, I want to follow them, that they're saying. So thank you very much. And also for the on stage, and thank you very much for you in the audience. It's the reason why we do this. And you inspire us continuously just by being there. So thank you. And next week, make sure you're marking your diary. We're going to continue this discussion on building the right team and what does it mean to actually do that. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time at 5 p.m. on The Complete Entrepreneur next Thursday. Bye.
Bye, Michael. Enjoy.